right, good morning everybody. How are you all doing on this early morning coming to this crazy big convention where you're learning tons of stuff that's a little overwhelming? Inspired? What are some of the feelings today? Happy to be here overall? Yeah. I'm happy you're here because I didn't have these opportunities when I was young to participate in new ways of thinking. And as you see the rest of the conference, this conference is about getting people to imagine a new way of building businesses, a new way of living, a new type of services, new ways that you can engage with your community. So you might see ideas downstairs that are about, different tech startups. You might see ideas about different ways of managing government. You might see ones about education, but all this is about imagining a new way that the future can be. And today's talk is partly about that, is how can anybody think more creatively about the future? There's something special that happens the moment you stop thinking about the past and start thinking about the future as something that's possible, something that you can create, something you have the ability to change. So today we'll be talking about design thinking, which is a system that many startups use, a lot of education facilities use. It's a fancy name, but at its base is let's think a little differently about creating. Let's think a little differently about how hard it is to create. Let's think a little differently about the tools we have access to. So a bit about myself. I've been working in tech for 2 decades. Been to a lot of different schools. I'm somebody that has always actively been learning. I've been searching knowledge. The thing that's interesting about that is it used to be harder to search for knowledge. Today, it's all at your fingertips. You have inspiring teachers who can connect you to other inspiring people and inspiring doers. And the doers are the ones that you can often learn the most from. But in this firm that I lead, we work with a lot of big clients. We've helped Indigo think of new ways to recreate retail. We've been working with the BC Lung Association in terms of how to help people quit smoking. We've worked with TransLink on how to improve some of their mobile systems. The point of it is our work is enabling businesses to think differently about the services they're offering. Sounds fancy, but at the end of it, it starts with just asking questions and using these methodologies to think differently about simple things. But the core of this is that really over the last 5 years, I've been prototyping my life. And what does that mean? It basically means that I go into every year not really knowing how the year is going to end. I don't assume to say, I'm going to end up in that point. I assume that I'm going to learn this year, and whatever I learn is going to help me pick my next path. And sometimes that means you have a couple failures along the way. Sometimes that means, there's things that happen that you weren't expecting. But the fact is, everything is a learning. Everything is a lesson. And even if you fall, that's something special because you can think about why you fell. Were you not thinking about what were you doing? Was it something that distracted you? Or did you fall because that's what you were supposed to do? And sometimes that's okay. And coming out of school, you're going to have a lot of falls. But it's important to not take it too personally, to think of it as a learning, as a lesson, as something special in your life. So you get asked this question all the time. What are you going to do with your life? How often do you get asked this question? A lot. Your family keeps asking you this. You're almost done school. I see a lot of nodding. Anybody want to help me answer this question? Anybody? What's that?
Twice a day.
Twice a day. Okay. So what's your answer? You want to be an engineer. Okay. Cool. Anybody else get asked this question? Yeah. You don't really know? Okay. Great. Anybody else? Yeah. I'll tell you when I grow up. This is interesting. It goes from very firm all the way to uncertain. But the fact is, you telling me that, it doesn't give me any doubts about you. I don't feel like any of you are not going to find a good path. Because sometimes living with uncertainty means that you're more open to change, and living with certainty sometimes means that you'll be more focused, and once you get there, you'll figure it out. And that's okay. But there's something unsettling about this question because it doesn't really help you. These are people who are observing, and sometimes they need to participate more actively in what you're doing. So it's a question that I need to come back to quite often in life because sometimes the questions we get asked don't help us well enough. Today, we're going to be talking about 2 things primarily. One is the reality revolution. That's what the theme is this week at Tech Summit. It's this idea that the world is changing, the realities we live in are all changing. So we need to start being more present in that change. But I hope that what you learn in this short session, again, it's often I do sessions over 2 days, that you're going to take away some tools. But the point here is, how can you take advantage of how the world is changing? Number 2 is we're going to talk about prototyping. Does anyone ever do prototyping in any of their work? Engineers might, designers might. You've done some prototyping? A lot of prototyping over here. And what kind of stuff?
Mostly like areas or...
Doesn't matter.
We use CAD to prototype different...
Yeah, for sure. And CAD is a prototyping tool. It's great. Like, I used to use CAD as an architecture way back. Okay, so we're going to talk about how can you use prototyping to innovate your life without the risk of failing. So CAD is a great example. So CAD is a mapping tool, a design tool that architects and engineers use to basically design the building before it's built. Now, with the sophistication of computers, you can use different models to make sure that it meets engineering standards. And the fact is, you can test out what the building will look like, what it'll feel like, without the risk of building this giant thing that sucks. That's really what we're trying to avoid. And you got to remember, 100, 200 years ago, sometimes you spend like 100 years building some of these cathedrals. Like Antonio Gaudi's Sagrada Cathedral in Barcelona took a century to build. He didn't even see it finished. And this is the way it used to be. Now, you can test things out on your computer. You can send it to people. What does this look like? That's really special. Okay, so I want to show you this. You might have seen this.
They were breathtaking moments, all captured on video. Just after an 8-year-old boy and his family load the Screaming Eagle chairlift, the child is dangling, his father's grasp, all that's keeping the boy from falling an estimated 6 meters.
There was a man with a kid struggling to keep the kid in the chair and yelling for the operator to stop the chair. But the operator didn't hear because the music was too loud, and so the chair kept on going up and up and up.
Then something incredible happens. 5 young boys, just 13 and 14 years old, create a makeshift rescue trampoline.
So I pointed to the net there and I said, you go grab the net, and me and Josh will go and run and get this padding.
So then I ran up behind him and helped him strip that off, and then go and put it on the block, in the block cell.
Well, and I yelled up and I said, okay, you need to take your skis off, because if you fall with your skis on, it's probably going to be worse. And then at one point we were just, okay, you just need to trust us, you just need to drop. And so then he dropped, we caught him.
Wow, they're heroes.
The little boy was unharmed.
He was just like kind of sitting there like on the mat, just like, his face was just like, yeah, he didn't really know what to think, I don't think.
Here at the District of North Vancouver, Mayor Mike Little has told Global News that the boys were creative, courageous, and heroic. He's hoping to honor them, possibly with certificates of appreciation.
So we're going to come back to the lesson from that, but the main piece from that is that in uncertainty, we rise to the occasion. There's something amazing about that. But before we get to that, we have a guest who wants to say hello.
Hi, everybody. I'm John Horgan. I'm the Premier of BC, and I'm really happy to be here today. I'll come over and talk into this. I saw a pretty obvious lesson out of that you're going to probably tell everybody about. But I want to thank you all for coming to the BCTECH Summit 2019. Anyone been here before? That's why you came back. Yeah, there's lots to learn here. The takeaway I want to give you from this is, young people being innovative save the day. Pretty much. There'll be a deeper story later on, but the challenge that we have as an aging society is that we're putting a whole lot of pressure on you to be the next generation of innovators, the next generation of skilled workers that will continue to have our economy going forward. The good news for you is that there's not many of you. And the bad news for me is there's way too many of us. The old-timies are in the way. You people are coming forward to make the changes not only that you want to see, but that we need in our society. As we tackle climate change, you are going to be the innovators that come up with the solutions that are going to set us free from our carbon-based economy. So my few words to you today are, A, thanks for coming. B, be risk takers, be innovators, think outside the box. The box has been holding us all back for too long. Those mentors that are with you, the teachers that are with you, will be trying to unleash your creativity over the next number of days here in Vancouver. But when you go back home, wherever you come from across the province, take that notion that I just have to think a little bit outside the box and I can transform society, I can make the world a better place. No pressure, no pressure. But those of us who depend on public health care and need hip replacements and knee replacements are going to be counting on you guys to make sure we can pay for it. So keep your brains working, be active, be focused on making life better, not just for yourself and your community, but all British Columbians and all Canadians. We're really, really counting on you. We're going to be there to help you along the way. There are mentors all over the place here. Take advantage of this opportunity. For those who have been here twice or 3 times, make sure you're helping out those new people who haven't yet got that courage to go up and ask somebody a question. Always be inquisitive, always be curious, always challenge assumptions, and you'll be a success. There you go. Take it easy.
Well, thank you, Premier. He basically said it all really fast and really eloquently. He's a pro, I think. But he's right. The point is, in this case, these kids, no different than you, found a problem. It was a big enough problem. The risk of trying something was more important than the risk of failing. They were innovators in that moment. It didn't take much. They weren't worried about what other people thought. It was so worth it, and it made sense. The problem is, and this is where we started, people ask you questions, but they don't put you in situations where you can try them. Trying is when you learn. That's when you can learn from maybe something didn't go perfect. But the point is, when you try, amazing things can happen, and these kids are a good example of that. So let's go back to the reality of revolution. This is the world you live in now. It's a hyper-connected world where basically anywhere that's lit up, you can get at least half of the same services as you can right here. You can imagine working with teams out of Pakistan, out of Indonesia, out of Colombia, out of Brazil, and really there's not much difference. The fact is, your imagination needs to start thinking outside of this box. And this box traditionally had been, well, I only know what I see. But the fact is, there's so much world to see, and it's right at your fingertips. There are problems out there that need your help. Some of them small, some of them big. It really doesn't matter what it is, but the point is, there are a lot of issues out there that your passion can be quickly aligned to. And don't think of borders as boundaries anymore, please. So, what are you passionate about? Thinking this way, where you don't have to worry about what someone thinks about you. You know, your grandparents, your aunt, they might have some judgment, but really in this room, I hope you don't feel that way. So what are you passionate about? What is something that you care about more than anything? And if you could do it, you'd be happy. Anybody? Yeah? Art. Okay, that's great. Anybody else?
Dressing up as fictional characters.
No, but it's great. These are great examples. Okay. Writing. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. So you see here, people are a lot more passionate about their answers too. I actually believe you're going to do these things. But when I ask you, what are you going to do with your life? I tend to get answers that seem to be like, I don't know. I got to find something that I can work in, I can get a job in, that people won't judge me in. But when I ask you what your passion is, you find something you connect with a lot faster. And that's really, really important. And the point of this connected world is you can find careers that are art, that are dressing up as fictional characters, and you can make a career out of it that actually has social impact. That's really amazing. This wasn't possible a generation ago. These careers they may exist, and if they don't, you can make them. That's the beauty of like the startup culture itself. Okay, so let's talk about these reality revolutions. You know, these are 4 different categories. There's connectivity, which I talked about, which is that the world is more connected than ever before and has less boundaries. There's artificial intelligence, which is this idea that there may be a technological solution out there that will help process things that previously you might have needed a team for. You might be able to patch in data that you never could have before. Cognitive, which is we know more than ever about how people learn. We know how to enhance our skills. We know what holds us back. We understand psychology on a much deeper level. And then universality, which is something that the Premier had touched on, which is this idea that we need to consider that our solutions aren't all for us. Sometimes our solutions are for the people who are going to need hip replacements. Sometimes our solutions are going to be for our great-grandparents. Sometimes our solutions will be for the next generation. But the point is, in today's world, it's important to think about the people that you don't see, because those are the people that often need to help more than anybody. So how can I take advantage of how the world's changing? That's probably what you're asking, and again, there are many, many ways. Think of these as superpowers. All of these innovations can help you in a way that you never imagined. They're basically like little avatars floating over you that give you a special ability. They're a special power-up. So, you know, if you want to do art, you can find the right technology to assist you in that. If, you know, you want to dress up as a fictional character, you can work on that and improve universality. And that's how can you help people who are disabled have access to some of these fun things. But let's talk about what these powers really are. So in terms of connectivity, that means there's less barriers. That's really important. That means you can think beyond what you see. There's a world on the other side. Artificial intelligence. You don't have to worry about how can you, because oftentimes there's a solution. You just need a good enough idea, the tools out there. Cognitive. You can believe in yourself because quite often the things that cognitively held you back, there is a tool out there to help you. There are people that can help you. So you can't think of those as limitations as you might have previously. There's so many dyslexic people that are madly successful. A lot of people ADHD, madly successful. So you can't really assume that conditions are limitations anymore. And the universality, who can, is no longer a limitation either. And that's a really, really important one, particularly in the work that we do. Okay, so we need to start thinking more what we want to do with these abilities. So what do we want to do? How can you take advantage of this? A couple ways are become a better version of yourself. So you can focus on yourself. That's one way. Find or create the perfect career. So, with this knowledge, you can go look and be like, okay, maybe there's a better way of doing the things that I already want to do. Maybe there's a better way where I can help more people. Or you can just create something you're passionate about. If it doesn't exist, it's legitimately something special. And that's how a lot of startups begin. They don't start by looking at a business analysis and all this. They're like, I want to do this. I want to invest 5 years of my life into creating the most amazing thing ever. So, what's your Super Bowl? What is it? You have super abilities. What is your Super Bowl? Anybody have anything they want to add here? What is it you'd like to do knowing that technology is there to support you? Knowing that there is a revolution happening that is giving you the ability to circumvent these barriers in a way that you couldn't believe. Anybody?
I also have a microphone if anyone in the back wants to talk.
Yeah. Make housing affordable. Okay? Great. Anybody else?
Accelerate the transition to renewable energy.
Sorry, what was that?
Accelerate the transition to renewable energy.
Okay. And what was yours? Very specific. I like that. Ambitious. But again,
One more back here.
Yeah.
World peace.
World peace is great.
Easy.
That's good. But again, you see, we're getting deeper and deeper into who you are and who you want to be. And there's something about asking the right questions, which is critical to understanding who you should, could, or want to be. And this is not a situation of judgment. It's just a situation of feeling comfortable in who you are and what you want. It's okay. And oftentimes we're scared of asking these questions. And that's why thinking like designers is important. But what's holding you back? Why can't we start this tomorrow? Anybody have any thoughts why we usually don't start working our passions immediately? Yeah? Inexperience? Okay. Fear of failing, correct? Yeah? Don't know where to start? Okay. Yeah?
Fear that just because you're not in a career that is devoted to this, that you're not capable of accomplishing that.
Okay, so you're saying the fear that you're not in the career already, so it would be hard to accomplish. I'm paraphrasing a little bit. Okay, somebody else?
Cost.
Cost. Okay.
Too busy with everything else that we're already doing.
Okay. You're a young audience, but you know what? If I would have had 30, 40, 50, 60-year-olds, they would say the exact same thing. So why is that? Is that actually a limitation, or is this just what we tell ourselves because we're scared? I don't know. I can't answer that question. But the point is that we can take little steps. We don't need to be scared because we all say the same things. And it's really, really unfortunate because sometimes it's just starting with one little thing. The littlest thing can be amazing. Designers, they often have like sketch a day type things. Writers have, write something a day. Athletes will go train all the time. But for some reason, for the rest of us who don't have one of these, athletic or artistic careers, we don't really think that way. But there's something about training ourselves and just trying. It's really, really important. And I know sometimes with these other careers, they sound really technical and really difficult, but the fact is, it's what can you do in the smallest amount of time every day that you can commit to. It's a simple thing. It's an experiment that, I've tried previously. Exercise is an interesting one. People are stressed out about it, but we just got to the point where it's like, what can we do every day that we can commit to? Because then it becomes a habit. Then it becomes part of you. And then you don't have to worry because it's like, I know I will do it. So then I can focus on what I will do. So this is when we need, toolkit. We need something that helps us go from ideas to action. We need to remove some of this risk so then we can start embodying the things we want. And this is where design thinking comes in. Again, it's a methodology that helps us prepare for tomorrow's reality revolutions. It helps us take advantage of the tools that exist and imagine new ones sometimes. And that's what we need, because again, as we see here, a lot of great ideas, but some fear. Design thinking has helped create a lot of things you use. In many ways, Apple was one of the biggest proponents of this. They tried and tested and prototyped and took a lot of risks. And that was because they believed so much in an idea that was a little out of the box, and then they proved it, and then they scaled it, and then they grew it into, the biggest company in the world. Nike does it all the time. They're always testing things out. It's mind-blowing. Nike is one of the most technological firms in the world, but we don't really realize it because they do such a good job of storytelling. Dyson's a company some of you may or not have heard about, but these things that you see there are fans. They don't look like fans because he's been using that aeronautical engineering to create new types of products. As someone who has a baby, this fan is a lot safer. It's a lot quieter. It's a lot more expensive, but the fact is, it's an innovation, a step forward. Airbnb started as something where people were just sleeping on people's couches and inflatables, and then they figured out that, hey, this is giant need. People actually want to go visit their family. They want to go stay somewhere and meet people and look from another lens. And then Tesla, Elon Musk has been testing things out for a long time, and like many of you, he had a vision, but he's a little fearless. And that's a beautiful piece. What is design thinking? It starts with 5 different components. Empathize. It's this idea of learning from people. What's really happening in their lives? Defining. Okay, from that, what can we take away? What is it that we actually need to focus on? Ideate. What are ways we can address this issue? How can we get step by step closer? Prototyping. This idea of, okay, well, we know where we want to get to. What is the simplest thing we can make to prove it? How can we make sure that we're taking the right steps? And then testing it, which is basically you prototype, you test it, you prototype it, you test it. This sounds like a highly technical thing, but this is no different than going out there and shooting hoops. It's no different than entering writing competitions. It's no different than learning how to walk. So sometimes we put barriers up there because we're genuinely scared, but the tools exist. We're used to failing, we're used to learning, we're used to training. Let's look at Netflix. Everybody loves Netflix in some form or other. They went from DVDs that were mailed to you in this clunky way where I have to order it, it comes like a week or 2 later, and then I have to mail it back. And now they're the most dominant, in some forms, media company in the world. The DVD thing is nothing, it's something they never cared about. They were testing their model out. They wanted to see how people react. It was a prototype, but they proved that people wanted things different than existed today, and it worked. And guess what? Their model has been working in terms of business performance as well. Their growth has outpaced Disney, and Disney, you know, bought Marvel along the way. They have all these fancy Avengers movies. But the thing about Disney is that super dependable thing that honestly doesn't take risks. Netflix has, and they're being rewarded for it in terms of the passion people have for it, and also in terms of the market capitalization. How did they do it? Again, step one, empathize. What could be done to improve home entertainment? They asked themselves that. They asked many, many people that. It made sense. They defined. They focused on solving one specific problem, which is how do you access shows in a way that you want? They ideated. They think of every way possible to improve access, access to streaming. They wanted to give people access to the shows in a way that made sense. Why not give people the tools that they want, that it made sense? And then they prototyped it. They built one idea in a very simple way. They started this on-demand revolution, and the technology wasn't there at the time, but they waited it out, and they invested in it, and it made sense. And then tested it. Pretty simple and straightforward. And again, I know you're thinking, reading this, that this is not who I am, and this is a business and such, but let's talk about what we can do for us. The big lessons from here. Think big, start small, fall quickly, or fail quickly, and learn always. These are things anybody can do. If you want to be an artist, you want to, help climate change, you want to save animals, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, This isn't about judgment, about the quality of the idea or the magnitude of it. It can be the smallest thing. It can be, how can I help home people or house people that are refugees? Everybody can take a step. How can I help homelessness? I can help one person at a time. There's so many ways you can go about this, and the point is, it's just thinking big, starting small. Simple lesson. So rapid prototyping is the tool that we're going to talk about today. I hope you've done this, and I know you have, because we've all done paper planes. We've all imagined ourselves as astronauts. We've all played Legos. Some of us have probably spent our time drawing up applications and games and stories and cut things up. These are things we did when we were kids, and we thought they were kid things to do. But guess what? Adults now get paid to do this stuff. Pretty funny, huh? And like I said, there are careers out there that you couldn't believe. There are companies in Vancouver that specialize just in building architectural models. All they do is just cut things and glue them and paint them. Beautiful. There are people that get paid to build Lego in the world. There are people who literally get paid to sit in front of you and show you cards and ask you questions. More careers exist than you can imagine. But the point is, you need to know why you want to do it. And that's what's really important here. So how would you prototype your future goal? Does anyone have a goal that you want to talk about? We can see how we can help you prototype it. Anybody have a goal that they want to work through here?
I want to get into mechatronics engineering.
You want to get into mechatronics engineering? Okay. That's great. Now, I know here today there's someone showing videos earlier. There are like robot competitions, which is one level of it. And then obviously there's a lot of Lego tools that you can use for that. Now, I'm assuming that you already do some of that stuff, right? So that's fantastic. Why have you been doing that?
Because it's my passion.
Right, but people have been motivating you too, I'm sure. No? Teachers, somebody?
Yeah, a couple of people.
Okay, that's good. And it helps when you have somebody backing you, helping you, encouraging you to do those little things. But oftentimes it starts as a kid. So sometimes you might look back on your life when you're 10, 12, and you realize that you were doing something back then that actually was a prototype of what you want to do in your future. Was there somebody in back there?
Yeah.
I'd like to get into the music industry.
Okay, you want to get in the music industry. What part of the music industry?
Specifically electronic music.
Okay. It's an area I know well. I used to be involved in that, funny enough. There's a lot of ways you can get into it. So obviously, there are a lot of softwares that you can learn. Simple thing. There are a lot of videos that you can download, pay for, whatever. Like I know Armin Van Buren does like a master class online, so you can learn that way. But in terms of music is the same as drawing, where it's how can I make a song every week? How can I make a beat every day. Learn how to master, the micro edits in a beat, and you might make something amazing. Last night I went to a concert where someone was playing like 6 pianos at the same time. And I guarantee you he started on a little toy piano at one point, and that was his prototyping. All right, thank you. So you have a sheet in front of you. I'm hoping you can help me help you in this case. Let's create an innovation plan for ourselves. I want to know what your goal is. I want to know what your motivation is. Let's start with those. And if anyone has any questions, let's talk about it. But the end goal here is I want to take what's in your head and help you create a little bit of an action plan. And by goal, it's where do you want to end up? Or what do you want to accomplish? It could be, tackling the housing crisis. It could be, conservation. It can be being the best engineer in the world. It doesn't really matter, but what is your real goal? The one that you're passionate about? And then when we talk about motivation, why do you want that? Why do you care about the climate? Why do you want to be an engineer? Why do you want to design video games? What is it about it that excites you? Is it the ability to be creative and artistic? Is it something that you tapped into as a kid? Is it something your family does? Just think about that motivation. It could be multiple motivations. I know an easy one here is money, but if money is the motivation, why? What do you want to do with that money? Is there a type of life that you want? Because no one just wants money. Okay. Is there anybody who wants to tell me their first two? Good, somebody in the back. Great, so what is your goal and your motivation?
I would like to make a woodworking business.
Yep.
And sell things, but I don't know how to sell things.
How to sell things? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. And what is your motivation for creating a woodworking business?
I just enjoy it a lot.
Okay. And what part do you enjoy of it? Is it the making? Is it the giving? Is it the creating spaces? What do you enjoy about it?
Everything.
Everything. Okay. And have you made anything in the past that made you excited or happy?
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of thing?
I just made myself a workbench.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic.
I want to use it.
Okay, so there's a bit of utility there. That's great. And is any part of this that you would rather make something for yourself than buy it?
Yes.
Okay, great. So what's holding you back from turning this into career or business, whatever you want to call it?
I don't know how to market it.
Okay. Is there one type of thing that you've made that other people have really liked? That people say like, wow, that was so cool, I wish I had one of those? Does that happen?
Yeah.
Okay.
And a bench, picnic table.
Okay. So quite often in these situations, people will focus on one thing, so making one type of thing, and then see if they can sell a couple of those. Make a name for yourself as the guy who's amazing at that one thing. And then start other things. But, I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but the point is, if you make one thing and you observe how people use it and you listen to their feedback about it, then you can learn, okay, maybe people would rather have a higher bench, a lower bench, a lighter bench, a darker bench. And from that, you can learn more ideas on other things you can make. So it starts always by making a simple thing. It's just think big, start small piece, and then just listen. Listen to how people use it, observe how they use it, and then just keep going. But, you know, a business doesn't need to be the same where you're an accountant and, you know, you invest all this money, you need startup cash and all that. That's a story that adults tell themselves. A business starts by you caring enough that you're willing to make stuff just for you. If it doesn't sell, who cares? And that's okay. Because guess what? For somebody in your family will love to have a bench, even if you make 3 and you only sell 1 or 2. So there's nothing to be scared of there. Okay, anybody else want to talk about